Hope everyone's had a great week. It's been a very, very busy week for us here in Paddington. I'll just wait for the audience to build up. Coming to you live tonight, so I just thought I'd let you know what's gone on with us. We had 3 auctions this weekend. We had one at 15 Fullerton Street that was scheduled. It sold prior to auction for $9.25. We had an auction at 109 Fernberg Road in Paddington yesterday that sold for $8.95. And there's also had a property on Rockbourne Terrace that went to auction yesterday that sold for $1.25 million. So we've had a pretty busy week. I also want to stop and also wish everyone well that was affected by the floods. Quite a catastrophic event up here in Queensland, and I know a fair few people that were affected. So, and I know that people are still, doing a fair bit of a clean up. So, I really do wish everyone well, and hope life returns back to normal as quickly as possible, and hope that everything's all right. So we'll just wait for this audience to build up a little bit. We noticed some good, obviously those auctions I mentioned there from yesterday, some good results. Numbers were down on a few other properties. I think that had a bit to do with school holidays up here in Queensland. So school holidays were meant to start on Saturday, Friday afternoon, but they ended up starting on Thursday with school called off on Thursday and Friday. So guys and girls, just thought I'd let you know what's going on. And so the open houses were a little bit quieter yesterday because I think with the rain to end school and the holidays starting, I think numbers were down. But all in all, we sold 3 out of 3 auctions. So a good result, and the market will tend to quieten down, now for the next couple of weeks till Easter's over, and then we'll see a pick up in stock levels, and we'll also see a pick up in buyer activity. A lot of people take this time of year to go away. So, look, I thought I'd run a little bit of a sort of not a rant, but I'd run a little bit of a my say on what I'm finding frustrating at the moment with a lot of people trying to enter the property market. It's people trying to enter the property market realistically, have a champagne taste on a beer budget. I get numerous inquiries, over the weeks with people wanting to buy, a really, nice property or a nicer property, but it's just out of their budget. So I'm sort of recommending people maybe look a little bit further afield. So it's probably one of the biggest rookie errors that I see is that people will just go to their budget because they want to be in a particular area. So I service mainly the inner west, being the Paddington, Barton, Auchenflower, Red Hill, Toowong, Taringa, St Lucia, anywhere this in the inner west, in the north. And I see people trying to get any sort of property in that marketplace. Now that could be a unit, and I'm seeing a few people that are trying to take advantage of the first home buyers grant and buy off the plan units or brand new units. Now, guys and girls, buying these units, even though you get the money from the government, the amount of money that you will lose in buying these units over the next few years will just make that non-existent. So you might as well have, went and bought a house somewhere else instead of getting the handout, which is the first home buyers grant. So shop within your means and definitely steer away from units, because I'm getting a lot of inquiries of people saying, look, Ben, we just want to live in Paddingtons or Toowong, and we'll just buy that 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit. But it's just not the best, with regards to your budget. So look further afield. I think house prices are due, for a good steady rise. I definitely think, further afield is the way to go. So, and I think what's going to happen is, definitely in the next few years, those units, there's going to be a major oversupply, and just don't get caught in the trap of buying just because of the area. It's the biggest rookie mistake that I see. So I just want to get so if everyone can just like at the moment too, if everyone can just do a like, if everyone can hear me properly out there. Well, we've got some questions at the end as well, so if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But if everyone can just like at the moment, and if you do find this useful, push the share button as well at the end, because there could be one of your friends that might find this advice, or there might be a friend that is looking at the moment with regards to this. So, look, the other thing that I find frustrating is we've all got those friends that are goners. So they're gonna buy a property. I think the best way to crack into the market is just get your foot in. Now, we've talked about the budgeting and where to buy and what to buy, but just get into the market somewhere, somehow. And now, look, I take great pride. I started out, in 2000 I bought my first property. It was 17 years ago. I looked at some advice of, different mentors and people in the industry where to buy. I'm meeting 2 people this week that's come off Facebook that have private messaged me saying, Ben, we want to get into the property market. We want to buy a property. How do we do it? I'm happy to meet with anyone, within reason, hopefully if you're in Brisbane somewhere. I'm happy to meet with anyone, anytime, and discuss their best tactic and, how they might strategize getting into the property market. I'm meeting a guy this week that he sent me a private message. He wants to be like, some of my clients and, get a great property portfolio build up. So, I'm happy to meet anyone anytime and go through all these, hints and tips, and it's not rocket science. I was an OP21, guys. I wasn't, clever at school at all. But, it's just having that get up and go and having a crack. I mean, I was told relatively young, when I was buying property, just buy your property, have a crack. It's not your wife. If you don't like it, you can sell it. If you can't afford it, you can sell it. I think people are just really got to have a crack. We live in a society of negativity, and there's a lot of negative people out there. There's a lot of doomsdayers saying the property market's going to crash and, house prices are going to be halved. And if you listen to all these people all the time, you're just never going to buy anything. And you'll be one of these people that I see looking around for 6 months, 12 months, and then all of a sudden the property markets move 5 or 10%, and then they just never end up buying anything. So get rid of all the negative people out of your life and all the negative influences, and choose a mentor. I mean, a couple of people have chosen me this week, and I'm meeting up with them, as I've said. So I'm meeting up with them. I'm going to discuss how I started. I'll go through their situation. Obviously, I'm not a financial planner, so I can't give them steady and rock solid financial advice, but I'll let them know how I got into the property market. Just have a drink of water. A little bit dry out there. It's a little bit humid tonight. So if I can just get another like again for people, if you can hear me properly, loud and clear. So just recapping of those who have joined, one of the biggest rookie error I'm seeing at the moment is people looking to buy in a certain area just because of their budget, and they're looking to buy units. It depends on the unit. Obviously, your higher end 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom units that are, for owner occupiers and downsizers, they're fine. But I'm seeing people looking just to buy a unit for the sake of getting in the property market. I believe these will come back in price. So I'm telling people to look further afield and buy a house, because house prices closest to train stations, good schooling, shopping centres, stuff like that, you're definitely going to get better value out of that than units. So just recapping my big advice there. The other advice too that I also give people is when you buy your first property, take a lot of pride in it and do the work yourself. Get off the piss for the weekend and have a bit of fun with it. And you can do your kitchen, your bathrooms, you know, you can do all that stuff yourself. Painting's very easy. Just takes a little bit of energy. And, you know, look, I remember when I bought, you know, I think it was my third house in Paddington. You know, I did a lot of work to that, and I'm probably the most unhandy bloke you want to meet. But, you know, had a bit of fun with it. And, you know, again, that's getting in and doing it yourself. You'll get to learn what adds value, what doesn't add value to your property. And that's the only way you're going to learn, guys, is by having a crack. And I just see too many people sitting out there saying they're gonna buy, they're looking, but by the time they look to buy, the property market's already moved. They become lazy, you know, and with the amount of rent I see people pay, it makes me sick. The amount of rent some people pay, like, you could be paying a mortgage off. Like, you know, wake up and, you know, use your money wisely. You know, get out there and have a look around and, you know, look for that house. And it depends on, it might not be in the suburb that you want, but definitely look to buy a house. It's definitely the way to go. And I think, you know, if it's further out of town and it's not, you know, in Paddington or New Farm or Bulimba or, you know, where the median house price is around $1 million, don't worry. Just look in the next few suburbs out, or look in an area that you know, that realistically that you can afford. But don't just buy a unit for the sake of living in a cool suburb, so to speak. So, guys, just if everyone can hear me, just like to get a like, and you know, and obviously if you think someone that this might add value, you can tag them in it, or you know, or share it on your Facebook page as well. If there's someone else that might, you know, that is going through this at the moment, and there's a lot of people that talk to their friends and they're looking at the moment, and it's quite a you know, topic at the moment, because everyone's, you know, every time I turn the news on, not that I get home in time for the news, but I record it every night, there's a story about property. So, you know, it is a hot topic and everyone reckons it's overinflated, but, you know, look, I got told by a guy that owns, you know, in excess of 50 properties. You know, we've got a property market that realistically, you know, goes like this, and you'll get cycles, and over time it'll go up and down. So the market will go up and down, up and down. But it's not looking at a short-term investment. You're looking at a long-term investment. It's a play for, you know, 10 to 20 years. If you're looking to buy something relatively quickly and turn it around, I covered this a few weeks ago. The transitional costs of stamp duty, agents' fees, marketing costs, bank fees, solicitors' fees. It's just, look, it can really add up to turn it around quickly. So unless you're a builder, it's very, very hard to turn them around pretty quickly, or you're buying in a suburb that, you know, that definitely, you know, or you bought well, realistically, to turn it around quickly. Now, we've got a couple of questions that have been asked, so I'll get Sam to read them out for me. They were asked during the week after my live cross last week, and I missed out, so I'll get back to them now.
Just a question from Alice.
Alice, hope you're viewing tonight, and I'll answer this for you. I missed out last week.
Would you buy a brand new property further out of town, or a rundown one that needs work closer to the city?
So Sam just read, Alice is asked, would I buy a rundown house closer to the city or a brand new one further out? So look, I'm taking that, for example, you know, in the outskirts of Brisbane, there's a lot of, you know, housing estates that have been newly built. My advice would be to buy closer in with a property that you could add value to. And I'd be looking for land size as well. So, you know, a property on a, you know, on a decent sized block closer in than buying just a brand new house and land package, for example. You might be able to buy them, but you're not going to be able to add too much value to that property. So my advice, Alice, would be definitely buy something that would be closer into town. And, you know, you might need to rough it for a little bit. You might need to do work to it, but you're definitely going to get more value out of that than further out of town. So if you buy a brand new house, there's not much you can do to it other than the market going up. There's not much that you can do to that property. So Alice, I'd suggest that you look closer into town than look further out of town. Got another question there?
Another question from Steve, also from last week. All I can currently afford is a unit. My budget is $450,000. Would you recommend that I buy the unit or look for a house further out?
Well, timely question, Steve. So, Steve, if you're viewing tonight, I hope you are. Look, I've really covered that early on. So, if you've been watching from the start, if your budget is around that, I would be looking to buy a house, further out. I wouldn't be looking to buy a unit for around $450. I'd be looking to maybe stretch yourself a little bit further and buy a house further out. Definitely the better way to go. I think that's going to get you a better return in the long run. As I mentioned, I think that the units are going to be a very hard sell with an oversupply, especially close to town. So you might not like it, and you might not be living in the suburb where your favourite cafe and your favourite restaurant is, and close to the CBD. But in the long run, you would definitely do better out of buying a house further out. So I think that's definitely a way to go. Steve, I hope you take that advice on board, and all the best with that, and I hope you're viewing tonight. Look, guys, if there's any other questions that anyone would like to ask, please let me know. As well as, if anyone's found this useful tonight, please share it with your friends or tag them in. And also feel free as well, guys, to send me a private message. I get a lot after these videos, so if you are a little bit shy and don't want to ask the question on a live cross or a live feed, I'm more than happy to answer your questions, at another time. So look, guys, I hope you have a great week and a really nice Sunday night, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.